Since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion against Ukraine, the United States has seized over $1 billion worth of private Russian assets in other countries.
To banks, to aviation industry, to insurance companies, all who have to make that asset go, it's a sign and a warning to them, be careful with whom you're dealing, because we are watching. And there will be consequences if you aid and abet the evasion of these sanctions.
Finding some large private property, such as yacht or house, is not difficult, says Transparency International representative Maira Martini. It is much more difficult to find out who exactly owns it, and then prove it, because Russians try to avoid arrest in various ways.
They set up a company that is owned in one country, that is owned by another company in another country, that's then owned by another company in a third country. This makes it very difficult for anyone trying to understand who owns that yacht. There is one additional tool that is also used to add to the complexity of ownership structures, that is a trust. And a trust is basically a private agreement.
At the same time, Moscow understands that it will not be possible to hide everything, and the amount of already frozen assets is colossal, approximately $330 billion. This is more than two-thirds of the Russian federal budget for 2023 at the current exchange rate. Therefore, the Kremlin is looking for ways to minimize losses. The Financial Times reported that Russia has proposed that the West exchange frozen assets.
I think it is unlikely that such negotiations, such ideas will find a place at all in the process of relations with the Russian Federation. Russia froze the funds of private investors today. Western countries, the civilized world, froze Russian sovereign assets as a punishment for aggression. At the same time, it should be understood that not only are assets frozen in the Russian Federation, there is also a 10% tax on the sale of assets if a company wants to exit the Russian market.
While the United States has already made changes to legislation related to the confiscation of Russian assets, the European Union does not yet have a single solution, but there is a common vision. The European Commission has developed legally sound proposals for the use of frozen Russian assets to help Ukraine. While there is no talk of confiscation and further transfer of them to Kyiv, this option does not suit all EU members, and the development of an appropriate legal framework may take years. Experts believe that the scheme with the transfer of interest from frozen assets to Ukraine is the most appropriate today.
We stand ready to present a legal proposal taking into account the discussions with the member states. Intensive outreach is also taking place with our G7 partners, as it's also very important for us to coordinate this internationally.
The European Commission plans to publish recommendations in the near future. The money that Ukraine will receive, whether it be income from Russian assets or funds from the sale of confiscated property, used to rebuild the country. Inflicted by Russia on Ukraine, damage is estimated at $700 billion. Some experts give numbers up to $1 trillion. Reported by Serhiy Kulyas, Valeria Nekipelova, UATV News.